All right, today we're going to dive into the incredible paradox of John Keats. This was a man who somehow found just breathtaking beauty in a life that was honestly defined by tragedy from the very beginning to its very quick end.
So, have you ever found something so beautiful it actually made you sad? You know that feeling, right? That really intense, almost aching feeling where sublime beauty and this weird sorrow kind of melt together? Well, John Keats, he lived his entire short life right there, in that space, and he somehow managed to turn it into some of the most powerful poetry we have.
And this is the central mystery we're looking at. I mean, how on earth did a man trained in the brutal, bloody reality of 19th century surgery, we're talking a world of screams and saws, no anesthetic, how did that guy become one of the greatest poets ever? A master of beauty and feeling? It just doesn't seem to add up.
Okay, so to really get Keats, we've got to throw out that old cliche, the dreamy poet wandering through a field of daffodils. Keats's world, it was anything but romantic. It was forged in blood and bone and the harsh realities of loss.
I mean, his life was just relentlessly tragic from the start. His dad dies in an accident when he's only 8. A few years later, his mom is gone too, taken by tuberculosis, the same disease that would eventually come for him. So now he's an orphan, he's poor, and he's basically forced into this really tough apprenticeship with a surgeon. This wasn't a choice driven by passion, it was pure necessity.
And let's be really clear about what we're talking about here. Surgery back then, it was basically butchery. No anesthesia, no clue about germs. The operating theater was a place of just unbelievable agony. And Keats' job was to stand there, day after day, witnessing and even participating in all this raw human pain. But here's what's so important to get. Keats wasn't some failed med student who turned to poetry as a plan B. No way. He was a star. He was so sharp, so skilled, that he was handpicked by the most famous surgeon in London for this super elite, super competitive position. The guy had a real gift for understanding the human body.
And then, 1816. He's got the secure, successful future as a doctor all laid out for him. And what does he do? He makes a choice that just baffled everyone. It's like all that time confronting the raw, physical truth of the body woke something else up inside him. A curiosity that science just couldn't satisfy. So he walked away. He traded it all for a life of total uncertainty, all for the sake of art.
But the literary world he jumped into, yeah, it was not exactly waiting with open arms. It was a vicious, class-obsessed battlefield. And Keats, the son of a stable keeper, he was immediately branded an outsider, an intruder.
The critics were absolutely savage. They mocked where he came from, calling him and his circle the Cockney School, which was basically a classist slur for working-class Londoners. I mean, listen to this review. Go back to the shop. It is a better and a wiser thing to be a starved apothecary than a starved poet. The attacks weren't just about his poetry, they were about his right to even be a poet. They were telling him, point blank, to know his place.
So, just to put this into perspective, let's look at him next to his famous contemporary, Percy Shelley. Shelley was everything Keats wasn't. An aristocrat, went to all the best schools. Shelley wrote about grand political ideals, looking down from on high. Keats? He was all about raw sensory experience, looking up from below. Now, Shelley admired Keats's genius, for sure, but he was also kind of condescending about it. And Keats was wary. He was fiercely independent and was not going to be anyone's little pet project. So you gotta ask, how did he survive all this? The poverty, the constant attacks, the grief. How? Well, he took the mindset that he had forged in that operating theater, a place filled with the deepest, most unsolvable mysteries of life and death, and he turned it into a radical philosophy, a kind of superpower, really. And this became the absolute heart of his genius. He called it negative capability. Now, it sounds super academic, but the idea is actually profound and pretty simple. It's just the capacity to be in uncertainties, mysteries, and doubts, without this irritable need to chase after facts and reason. It's the strength to just be with the questions, instead of demanding all the answers right now. It's kind of like enjoying the magic in Harry Potter without needing a textbook on physics to explain it. Or think about falling in love. The second you try to make a spreadsheet to logically prove your feelings, the magic is just gone. Negative capability is the courage to stay in that mysterious, unexplainable state. It's about accepting a tragedy and still finding beauty in it. It's holding two opposite ideas in your head at the same time without your brain exploding.
So armed with this new way of seeing the world, Keats enters this period of creativity that is just almost unbelievable. It was a single year where he stared right into the face of uncertainty and transformed it into immortal art. And all this happened while he was falling desperately, beautifully in love.
Get this, in the single year of 1819, they call it his miracle year, he composed 6 of the greatest odes in the English language. Ode to a Nightingale, Ode on a Grecian Urn, to Autumn. I mean, the list goes on. All of them just pouring out of him in this white-hot burst of pure genius.
In this whole philosophy, it really comes to a head in maybe his most famous line ever. You've probably heard it. Beauty is truth, truth beauty. When he's looking at this ancient Greek urn, he's not trying to analyze it or explain it away. He's just accepting its beautiful mystery. That line isn't some simple math equation. It is negative capability. The connection between beauty and truth is a mystery we can't solve, and he's saying that's okay. In fact, embracing that mystery, that's all we really need to know.
And right in the middle of all this creative fire, he falls completely, passionately in love with his neighbor, a woman named Fanny Brawne. His letters to her are some of the most moving things you'll ever read, and she's the one who inspired his poem Bright Star, this desperate, beautiful wish to just be frozen in a single moment of love with her, forever.
But fate can be unspeakably cruel. Just as he finds his voice, just as he finds his great love, the family curse that had been haunting his life finally came for him.
One night, he has a coughing fit, and afterwards, he sees a single drop of bright red blood on his bedsheet. And in this moment of just devastating irony, his medical training, that life he walked away from, it gives him a terrible absolute certainty. He knew that color. It was arterial blood. And he knew, in that single instant, what it meant. He turned to his friend and calmly said, "That is my death warrant. I must die."
So in his final days, the man who built a philosophy on embracing uncertainty had to confront the biggest uncertainty of all, his own end. And he was absolutely convinced he would be forgotten, that his life's work would just vanish. His friends, desperate, sent him to Rome, hoping the warmer climate might save him. But before he left, he made this heartbreaking request. He asked for all of Fanny Brawne's letters to be placed in his coffin with him, but he wanted them placed there unread. He just couldn't bear the pain of rereading her words, knowing he'd never see her again. And there, in Rome, in the arms of his friend, he died. He was only 25 years old. And this is the epitaph he wanted for his own tombstone. Here lies one whose name was writ in water. He didn't even want his own name on the stone. He was so broken by the critics, by his illness, that he truly believed his entire life would be as permanent as writing your name on a river, there for a second and then just gone forever. So yeah, he was certain, absolutely certain, that his name and all his work would just vanish like words on a stream. He died believing he was a failure, and he could not have been more wrong. Which kind of leaves us with a final question, doesn't it? I mean, we live in an age of instant answers, of data for everything. We want certainty, now. So the question Keats leaves us with is this. Is his negative capability, that power to just linger in mystery, is that the most vital human skill we've lost? Think about it.